who is Agricultural Heritage Advisor in the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fishery of Japan. So, Dr. Nagata, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you for your kind introduction. I'm Akira Nagata, a former official of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries, MAFF of Japan, and former senior program coordinator and later visiting research fellow of the United Nations University, UNU. And now I'm a voluntary agricultural heritage advisor in Japan. Thank you very much for giving me this precious opportunity to present about Japan's nationally important agricultural heritage systems, so-called JNIAS, at such a very important FAO webinar today. I'd like to share my slides. Okay, before let me start by giving a brief introduction of the launch of JIAS in Japan. The introduction of JIAS in Japan began about 15 years ago in 2010. At that time, I was dispatched by MAF to UNU, based in Tokyo, Japan. My boss at the UNU was Professor Kazuhiko Takeuchi, the vice rector of UNU and a key person in introducing JIAS to Japan. Professor Takeuchi later served as a member of FAO's Scientific Advisory, or JIAS Scientific Advisory Group, SAG, and as the chairperson of MAF JIAS Scientific Committee in Japan. At the time, JIAS was an FAO initiative aimed mainly at the developing countries, but Professor Takeuchi argued that traditional agriculture still exists in Japan, a developed country. And UNU in Tokyo, which had close collaboration with FAO JIAS Secretariat, began efforts to introduce JIAS to Japan. However, I think it is the same situation in your country that before the first JIAS recognition in your country, very few people, almost nobody, knew about JIAS. At that time also, in Japan, very few people knew about JIAS, including MAF officials, local government officials, and of course local people. In this situation, UNU supported JIAS application to FAO together with the mayors of the candidate sites who were very interested in JIAS, and MAF officials, especially officials of MAF regional office. Then in June 2011, Sado and Noto were recognized as the first JIAS site in Japan and the first JIAS site in developed countries. To start JIAS or NIAS, which I talk about in this following presentation, in your country, it is essential to have a key person or a good leader with enthusiasm and good supporters. In other words, if you have a key person or a good leader with enthusiasm and good supporters, JIAS and or NIAS can definitely be realized in your country, even if people around you currently do not understand JIAS well. I'd like to emphasize this at first. Now I will start my presentation the overview of the NIAS framework through policy and financial mechanism in Japan. First, a background of JNIAS. While China and Republic of Korea introduced NIAS before JIAS, Japan, like many other JIAS countries participating today, introduced JIAS first. The reason behind Japan's introduction of NIAS was the idea of Professor Takeuchi, who felt that in addition to JIAS selection criteria, which were mainly aimed at developing countries at that time, there was a need for selection criteria that were suitable for and unique to Japan. This is based on the findings of the research project titled Developing Comprehensive Assessment Method for Ingenious Agricultural System in Japan, led by Professor Takeuchi and conducted by UNU and the University of Tokyo, which concluded the three important points. Number one, resilience to change against natural environment disturbances, such as natural disasters and changes in ecosystems. This is environmental aspect. Number two, participation of various actors in response to social changes such as depopulation, aging, and declining community functions in rural areas. This is social aspect. Industrialization. In response to economic fluctuations such as fluctuations in agricultural products market prices and interest and exchange rate fluctuations, this is economical aspects. Regarding resilience to change, as you know, Noto, which has been recognized as GIAS site, also suffered major disasters last year, including big earthquake and heavy rains. But in Japan, where natural disasters are very frequent, long-term ecological resilience or resilience to change is extremely important. Regarding the participation of various actors or multi-stakeholders, in Japan's rural areas, depopulation, aging, and declining community functions are serious problems, and the number of agricultural people is decreasing, making it difficult for farmers alone to maintain traditional agriculture. So it is important for various actors or multi-stakeholders, including even urban residents, to participate in the conservation of traditional agriculture. Regarding promotion of sixth industrialization is a regional activity that combines local industries such as agriculture as primary industry, processing as secondary industry, and marketing as tertiary industry. Sixth means primary multiplied by secondary and tertiary. In the past, farmers only had to concentrate on production, agricultural production. But in recent years, there has been a need for sixth industrialization, which involves not only production, but also processing and marketing in the same region. Following this proposal from Professor Takeuchi, the establishment of JNIAS was discussed at the MAF GIAS Scientific Committee, and MAF decided to establish JNIAS systems in 2016. At that time, Professor Takeuchi emphasized that JNIAS should not be second-rate because JNIAS have their own unique value independent of GIAS. Now, progress of JNIAS. JNIAS began in 2016, 5 years after the first GIAS recognition in Japan. And application and recognition are made every 2 years. Sites have been recognized to date. Of these, 7 NIAS sites were recognized as GIAS sites after being JNIAS site recognition. Means that approximately half of the 15 GIAS sites are also JNIAS sites. In Japan, JNIAS and GIAS are two separate systems, and there is no policy priority between the two systems. However, in recent years, an increasing number of applications for GIAS to FAO have been made several years after being recognized as JNIAS. The policy mechanism of JNIAS. From the perspective of policy and financial mechanisms, there is no difference between GIAS in Japan. So the following discussion will focus on agricultural heritage systems as a whole. When GIAS was first introduced, there was no particular policy positioning, and the first time the GIAS were mentioned in MAF official document was in the annual report on food, agriculture, food, agriculture, and rural areas in Japan, published in 2012, so-called White Paper on Food, Agriculture, and Rural Areas. Organizationally, agricultural heritage was not initially designated as a clear responsibility of MAF, and a dedicated team, which is a subdivision of Environmental Division in Rural Development Bureau of MAF, was not established until 2016. Subsequently, the status of agricultural heritage policy was elevated, and it was first mentioned in the Basic Plan on Food, Agriculture, and Rural Areas, which serves as a national guideline for agriculture policy in March 2020. Although agricultural heritage is not explicitly mentioned in the basic law on food, agriculture, and rural areas, it is understood to be included in Article 49 of the Basic Law, which states that the state shall take necessary measures in order to obtain a better public understanding and awareness for agriculture and rural areas, and to contribute to healthy and comfortable life. The Basic on Food, Agriculture, and Rural Areas was revised in 2025, a few months ago, and agricultural heritage is also included in Section 4, Comprehensive and Planned Measures to be taken regarding food, agriculture, and rural areas. Policy on agricultural heritage is based on the notification by Director General of Rural Development Bureau of MAF, the guidelines for approval of GIAS application to FAO and recognition of GENIAS. It includes purpose, approval of GIAS application to FAO and recognition of GENIAS site, reporting and evaluation of activities, revocation of GIAS application to FAO and recognition of GENIAS sites. Now, financial mechanism of GENIAS. In Japan, there is no special financial support from the national government specified to GIAS sites or GENIAS sites. Therefore, GIAS and GENIAS sites often utilize common and general subsidies for agriculture and rural development provided by MAF, as well as financial support from local governments, such as prefectural governments and municipality governments. So national financial mechanisms related to GIAS or GENIAS are limited to raise awareness of GIAS or GENIAS, such as operating website, creating, distributing educational materials, holding symposium and events, and international cooperation, such as collaboration with the FAO. MAF's initiative for agriculture heritage, besides approval of GIAS application to FAO and recognition of GENIAS sites, are as follows: monitoring, evaluation of the situation and conservation activity in GIAS and GENIAS site, promoting awareness, understanding of GIAS and GENIAS, tourism, promoting interaction with people from outside of GIAS and GENIAS sites, and various other efforts. The governance and monitoring and evaluation. Both GENIAS and GIAS sites are monitored and evaluated based on the guidelines for approval of GIAS application for FAO and recognition of GENIAS. Action plan of each GIAS or GENIAS site has a period of 5 years. Monitoring is carried out in the fourth or fifth year of the action plan by MAF GIAS GENIAS Scientific Committee through online interview or field survey, which is conducted to confirm the self-evaluation report made by each GIAS or GENIAS site. GIAS GENIAS sites revise their action plan based on the advice by the committee. I will give you an actual example in the following case presentation. Thank you.